And we're back. And we're going to talk now about how a bill becomes law. And I have a Schoolhouse Rock video that in this module that you need to watch, which explains it more succinctly, actually, than I can. But nonetheless, I'm going to explain to you the Schoolhouse Rock leaves a few things out. So we're going to talk about that, talk about those things. All right. So, how does a bill become law? Well, power lies in the House with the Speaker, the floor leaders, the whips, the Rules Committee, and the chairs of the standing committees. Only about 5% or less of proposed bills ultimately become law. If you're a member of a majority party, the chances of one of your bills becoming law is better, but it's still pretty low. House member will introduce a bill. The Speaker then refers it to the appropriate committee, and then the committee will decide what to do. About 84% of House bills that are referred to a committee die in committee. Only about 16% of them emerge from committees. In committees, there is debate over the bill. Should we recommend this for passage? Should we not? The committees can add amendments to the bill so they can change it. And ultimately, they will either vote to table it or to recommend it for passage. If they vote to recommend it for passage, it goes to the full floor for a vote. However, it also has to get a special rule from the Rules Committee. Most bills cannot be debated without a special rule in the House from the Rules Committee. And 9 of the 13 members of the Rules Committee come from the majority party. So once again, majority party has huge control here. You have to win multiple members of the majority party here to get it to pass. So if you're in the minority party, then it's going to be a whole lot harder for you. But if the Rules Committee votes to grant you a rule for your bill to be debated on the floor, then it will get a full vote. Let's look at the other chamber. Let's say it passes the House, goes to the Senate, makes it to the Senate, process starts over again, begins in a committee, has to advance out of the committee for a full floor vote. And bills, by the way, can originate in the Senate too, and pass the Senate, then go to the House. That also happens. Unless it's a bill for taxation, then it has to originate in the House. Probably the biggest roadblock in the Senate is what's called a filibuster. What is a filibuster? Well, it's not a word that appears in the Constitution. It's sort of a quirk that comes from the rules of the Senate. Senate rules allow for unlimited debate on a bill. So what that means in practice is that they follow Robert's rules, which means that move the previous motion, move for a vote. They can do it by a voice vote. If nobody objects, then it goes to the floor for a vote. If somebody objects, then they have to vote on whether or not to advance the bill to the floor for a vote. And in order to advance it to the floor for a vote, 60 votes are needed. This is known as cloture. If 60 senators vote to advance the bill to the floor for a vote, then debate is limited to 30 hours. After 30 hours, the bill automatically goes to the floor and everybody votes for it. If fewer than 50 vote to invoke cloture to advance the bill to the floor for a vote, then debate remains unlimited. So it can go on forever and ever. So what this means, of course, it takes only a simple majority, 51 votes, to pass a bill, but it takes 60 to get it to the floor so that it can be voted on. So what this means is that for many things, 60 votes are what's necessary to get something passed. Now, filibustering historically, now if the majority leader wants to play hardball with you, they don't do this much anymore. In the past, they did this more often. They can say, all right, you want to debate it? Let's debate it. And so we're going to leave the floor open for debate this whole time. And if you want to block a vote on this bill, you're going to have to hold the floor indefinitely. So what does that mean? It means talking nonstop. So just basically filibustering is talking a bill to death. And that means that just get up there, read phone books, whatever. Supposedly the legend has it that Strom Thurmond read phone books in 1957 on the floor of the Senate. I don't think that's true. But Strom Thurmond, who was a South Carolina senator, was filibustering the Civil Rights Act of 1957. And he got up in front of the Senate and spoke for 24 hours, 18 minutes, which was the record. Though Cory Booker, I think it's complicated. There's some technical definitions there. I think Thurman does technically retain the record, though Cory Booker got up and spoke for, I believe, over 25 hours. So that's the longest anyone has ever solo spoken to the Senate. So they can do that. So how would you like to get up and talk for 24 hours straight? Well, you have to pee. Then what? Well, there was actually a senator, I think in the 20s, who somebody asked him that question. He said, well, it's what you wear dark pants for. So great topics here to discuss. They don't really usually make people stand up and talk forever anymore. Now they do what are called gentleman filibusters, which means effectively if someone threatens a filibuster, if they can't get 60 votes for cloture, then there's going to be a filibuster. They don't make you actually carry through on the filibuster, though. It just means that, all right, we'll just move this to the back of the agenda and move something else forward. So, though, if they want to play hardball, they can force you to do it. Other Senate roadblocks include holds. About any senator can delay a bill for at least 24 hours by putting a hold on it. 24 hours may not sound like much, but if it's a bill that is hotly contested and very close, that might be enough time to put pressure on a key senator or two and get them to change their vote. And if they do that, then like if you're a senator who's a tentative yes vote, but you're not confident and you get blasted with 10,000 calls and emails telling you to vote no, that might push you over to the other side. So this is more powerful than it may initially sound. So how does the bill become law? As Schoolhouse Rock says, I'll add a little more to it. Someone has an idea. They contact their member of Congress, or a staffer for them, or a lobbyist will then write up this bill. The member will then propose it. It will then be referred to the appropriate committee. If it makes it out of the committee and in the House gets a rule allowing for it to be debated on the floor, it will be debated on the floor. And if it's then voted on, and if a majority vote for it, then it advances to the other chamber where the process starts all over again. If it makes it out of the other chamber, usually, though not always, of course, the Senate has to get through filibusters and holds and all that. If it does make it out, then usually we have two versions of the bill that basically do the same thing, but there are some differences, minor differences, because both the House and the Senate can tack on amendments, and oftentimes they do. So if different versions, if there is one letter difference between the two, then they have to be reconciled, which means a committee consisting of both House members and senators will look over the two versions of the bill, negotiate, hammer out the differences into one standardized version. This one standardized version is sent to both the House and the Senate, where they vote again on it. And when they vote in favor of it, usually if it gets to that point, this is a formality. It then goes to the president's desk, and the president can either sign it or veto it. President signs it, it becomes law. President vetoes it, it goes back to the Congress. They can attempt to override if they have 2/3 of members in both chambers willing to do so. If they don't, they can make changes to it, pass, and try to change it in a way that will get the president's support and pass it again. So that's how a bill becomes law. And next we'll talk about Congress, who serves there, and what their roles are. So talk to you soon. Goodbye.